As a director of photography, it's important to be organized. There are a lot of different moving parts that you have to keep on top of during production, especially as the scale of the production grows. Having a system in place to help keep all of your production documents and tasks organized will help set you up for success during your shoot. Hey, I'm Ben, and if you're anything like me and enjoy a bit of productivity and digital organization, you've probably heard of or used Notion. In this video, I'm going to show you how I use Notion as a director of photography. Prior to using Notion, my system for organizing production documents and tasks was a combination of notebooks and storing documents on the cloud, such as Google Drive. Then, 2.5 years ago, I discovered Notion after watching one of Ali Abdaal's videos on the application. So I gave it a crack, and it's safe to say it's changed the way that I prepare for shoots. If you're new to Notion, it's a productivity tool which allows you to organize all your notes and other information using pages and databases. One of the main reasons that I use Notion is that it's a modular platform, which allows you to customize things to the way that works best for you. The way that I've set up my Notion centralizes all my production documents and tasks, allowing me to quickly find the information that I'm looking for. Notion also has different levels of automation, helping reduce friction in performing repetitive operations and can help keep things looking consistent. In this video, I'm not going to go through how everything in Notion works, but I'll include some resources in the description below if you want to give Notion a go. With that disclaimer out of the way, let's jump into how I use Notion. A majority of the jobs that I do are on the smaller side, typically with just myself or working alongside a sound person. So I've created myself a basic shoot template, which auto-populates the fields that I have to add information to every time I add new tasks to my to-do list. This basic shoot template has all the things that I need for a shoot at a quick glance, such as location of the shoot, contact details, as well as an area to list out all the gear that I require to get the job done. If you want to create this template for yourself, here's how you go about doing it. To begin, let's start by creating a production page where all your productions will be located. We'll do that by adding a page here, and we'll call this production, and we'll make it an empty page. Let's make this full screen. And in this page, let's add a heading. Let's go heading 2, and we'll call this active productions. Let's add a divider. Let's add a new inline database, like so. We'll call this all productions. And we'll just hide this for now. And in here, you'll have your name of the production, so that's fine. We'll call this status. We'll edit this property and change it to a status property. And this will give you a not started, in progress, and completed tag for you to label your projects. And then we'll create a date field. And this will be the date of the production. Let's make this full screen just so that we have a bit more real estate, like so. And under this table, we'll add another heading, and then we'll call this all productions. And then we'll add another divider. So another divider. And at this time, let's add a linked database view. So a linked database view basically references a pre-existing database and just creates a new view in the page. Link viewer database. And let's go and link it to all productions here. And we'll just leave it as a table. So with the active productions, let's filter it so that it only shows the active status as in production. So we'll go filter and status, and let's go in progress. As you can see now, the not started productions that are listed in this all productions table don't appear in this list view up in the active productions view. To make this view look a little bit nicer, let's make this a gallery view. And this will basically show up as cards. Let's make it so that we only see just the card, and we can make it a large size. And now we can clear this. Now that we've created a production page, here's how you go about creating a basic production template. First, we'll start by clicking the arrow next to new and creating a new template. We'll make it full screen up here just to make it easier for us to work with. And let's make this a full width template. And we can call this new project template. Alrighty. So up at the top here, let's add a new heading, and you can do that by hitting the hash key. So 1 hash will be heading 1, 2 hashes will be heading 2, and 3 hashes will be heading 3. So let's create a heading 2, and we'll call this general information. And then let's add a divider, and you can add a divider by just pressing the dash 3 times. And under this general information, let's add a contact name, contact number, and location. And after this, let's add another heading, and we'll call this documentation, and we'll add another divider and create a inline database. So we'll call this inline database project documentation. Here's where you'll be able to upload all of your documents related to the project. The name's fine. We'll change this tags to type, and we'll edit the properties so that it is a select. We can add some options here. So let's put one option being script and another option being storyboard. And now you'll be able to select those from the drop-down field. And once we've done that, we'll add a files and media upload field. So we'll just go up to this plus here, scroll down, and add files and media. And that basically completes that column there. For the template, we can probably delete these pre-existing fields that the database has created for us. Now that we've created the project documentation database, let's add another heading, and let's make it a heading 3. And this is just for any additional information that we might have for the project. And we'll add just a bullet point. And then let's create another heading, and we'll call this gear list. So in the gear list section, you can customize it to suit your production needs. So I'm gonna start by making it a 3-column setup. So we can do that by clicking here and searching for 3-column. And here we go. So now that we've got the 3 columns, I'm gonna start by adding my first heading, which will be camera, and I'll make it a heading 3. And then I'm gonna add a couple of blank to-do fields just to make it easier when I use a template in the future. So I'm gonna add another heading 3, and I'm gonna call it support. And this is where you're gonna put all of your support equipment, such as tripods and gimbals and things like that. And then I'm gonna do the same with the to-do list. And now we're gonna move over to the second column, and we'll call this audio, and add some more to-dos. And then I'm gonna add another heading, and we're gonna call this miscellaneous. And then in the last column, we're gonna add the last heading, which will be lighting. And then just fill out some to-do list. From here, we're gonna add another heading 2, and we're gonna call it to-do list. And we'll add another divider. And we're gonna add another inline database for the tasks that you'll have for each of your productions. That, we will hide the title. For this, you're gonna need a date as well as a checkbox field to make sure that you've checked the task off. We'll change this property tags to a date field, and we'll call it date. And then we can move it to the left of the name field, and then we'll add a checkbox field, and we'll call this complete. And we'll just make it small like that, and we'll just change the size of the name field, and maybe let's change this to description. And the last thing I want to do here is just to filter out all of the complete tasks. So we can do that by going filter, and then going complete, and then saying unchecked. And we can hide that filter up again. And this will basically just show the unchecked tasks. Once we check it, it disappears. And to see all completed tasks, we can add another view if you'd like. And we'll do the opposite with the filter, and we'll go complete and go checked. And we can rename this complete tasks, and that will change the title here. And maybe let's change this to tasks. All right. And we can hide the database here. Let's clear these tasks from the database now so they don't populate every time you add a new project. So, now that we have an area for our tasks, I like to have a section that I can put any notes from the shoot just to pass on to the editor. So let's add a new heading and let's call it post shoot notes. And we'll add a divider and just add a bullet point. So let's add the last section to our template for our expenses. This will be an area that you can upload any expenses related to the production. We'll do this by following very similar steps to how we created the to-do list. And we'll add a numbers field just to add the cost, like so. And at the bottom of this field, we'll select calculate and go sum. And this will basically tally up all of the expenses in this field and add them up to give you a grand total. And we'll add the last field, which is the files and media, just to upload your receipts. So now if we add, say, a date, such as today's date, and we'll call this parking, and select parking there, and we'll just add a number. Let's say parking cost us $25.73 or 74, I mean. As you can see, that tallies up at the bottom there. And now let's add a second item. Let's do it for today's date, and we'll call it lunch. And select food and drink, and we'll say that lunch was $35. And now that's tallied up at the bottom for $60.74. So let's clear these fields now so they don't populate every time you add a new project. And the last thing that we need to do is to make this the default template every time you hit the new button. So to do that, let's go back and we'll just click out of here. So basically now let's click on the arrow and you can now select your default template of the new project template. And we'll just make this set as default. And we'll just select it for all views in all productions. Now that you've made the new template that you've created the default, every time you create a new project, the template will be used to populate your new pages, like so. If you want to try the template that I've created for yourself, I've included links in the description below to 2 different production templates that I've created, which you can download for free. There are many approaches to keeping your production documents organized, and Notion is just one of them. I'd love to hear about the systems that you use to keep yourself organized in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and until next time, don't forget to hit record.